All right, today we're going to talk about the 5R55 S&W overdrive section. This is the section in the front of the transmission right behind the pump. All right, there actually are two different overdrive sections depending on what year you have. All right, so this 5R55W came out in 2002 and it went on to 2003. 2004, they made some upgrades and changed the overdrive section as well as the solenoid pack. But the overdrive section is what we want to concentrate on because it can give you a little bit of a problem if you accidentally install the wrong one. Same thing with the solenoid pack, but I'll touch on that at the end of the video. All right, so what the deal is in 2002 when the transmission first came out and the overdrive section, the sun gear has 24 teeth on it. All right, so that's 0203. And in 04 they upgraded it to 38 teeth and changed the name to the 5R55S. Okay, but the thing is this, you can accidentally install the wrong overdrive section, whether it be the late one in the early or the early in the late, and you won't get a clean 2-3 shift. And the reason being is because the ratio is just slightly off. And the ratios are so close between the two overdrive sections that the computer doesn't even flag a gear ratio code. All right, so I have a manual here, and it says in the 5R55W, the second gear ratio is 2.41, and the second gear ratio in the 5R55S is 2.29. Of course, with the S, the gear is larger, so it'll take longer to go around. But the problem's going to be when you overhaul the transmission, and then you go to road test it, and you say, well, that didn't feel right, that 2-3 shift. So what you'll do is reset the shift adapts, everything will be nice for about a half an hour. And then as you drive it again, it's going to pretty much go back to the same way. Now, I just finished one here, and this is out of an 02 Ford Explorer from a very good wholesale account. And we got it in, the car didn't drive because it had a ton of electrical codes because of the harness was no good. Some corrosion got in there, corroded the pins on the solenoid pack, the harness is no good. So with the multiple solenoid codes, the first thing that we have to do is do the harness and do the solenoid pack. So we got the okay to do that. Of course, to take the solenoid pack down, you have to drop the pan. We drop the pan, there's a snap ring laying in the pan. The common snap ring to the forward ring gear. That's the one that I replaced with the super tough snap ring that I get from my supplier at Transtar. So I call him up and I tell him what's going on. He's got to get back to us. We got the okay to fix the transmission. And as time's going on, I'm real, this is the owner of the station. This is his station car, his personal station car, which I honestly didn't know that right off the bat. So we get the transmission out. I take it apart again. It's an 02. I pull the pump out. I pull the overdrive section out, and I see 38 teeth on the sun gear. So I said, there's something wrong. Everything else is right, early solenoid pack, everything else, and the rest of the transmission pretty much is the same, but I got a late overdrive section. So I call him up and I says, this transmission couldn't have shifted right because you have the wrong overdrive section. And he says, oh, I drove the thing for 10 years and it seemed okay to me. All right, whatever, so I'm just gonna continue. I'm not really sure whoever worked on it last what they did. Then he brought us another car that we were doing the transmission on, and he says, I was thinking about it on the way over here, and something, you're right, it really never did shift correctly on the 2-3 shift. Hence, because the overdrive section is incorrect. So I spoke to him and I says, I want to make this thing right, so I actually bought an earlier one and put it in, and this is his later one here. But one of the scenarios that I did want to tell you guys, especially the do-it-yourselfers, is if you, because I had some people that write to me and email me and post comments on the channel about this. I even had one guy who was having some problems and he was in Boston, and he drove here, and I met him here on a Saturday, and I helped him out fixing up his transmission for him. But the thing is this, if you want to try to do this yourself, that's great. But if, say you take this thing apart and the overdrive section is no good, and then you want to source out another overdrive section, and you get, it's even happened to me when I've got these hard part guys on the phone and I say, hey, I got an O2 Explorer, I need the 24 tooth Sun Gear overdrive section. And he says, well, I don't have that, but you know what? You use the 38 tooth as an assembly and the thing's gonna work just fine. But it's not gonna work just fine. It'll go in, it'll install, everything will go together nice, but it's not gonna be okay when you drive the car. So I just wanted to make you aware of that, and like a scenario with me, in case you can't drive the car, and you take this thing apart and, you know, say, hey, you know, I had a light section in this early in this early transmission. But and I have kind of like a solution just in case there is a question of which one it takes. This drum, you have a washer that sits on here. I'll give you a close-up shot of this. And then you have the Sun Gear. This is the later Sun Gear. That sits like that. And then the planetary goes on top. And then this, you know, in here, you know, it sits like this. And then the pump will go in here. Okay, so if there ever is a question, or whatever the case may be, you know, I don't know if it's supposed to take a 38 tooth, I don't know if it's supposed to take a 24, maybe it's like a late 03, whatever the case may be. What I had to do once, I don't remember the situation, but the best way I found out which was the correct overdrive section was I called Ford, gave them the VIN number, and I had them fax a picture of the overdrive section to me. And when I looked at it, what I did, according to my VIN number, is I ordered the washer, because this is the cheapest thing. It's just probably a couple of bucks. And whatever washer I got, whether it be this one or this one, is how I knew what overdrive section it took. So just in case, I wanted to share that with you guys, just in case there is a question. Because you never know what you're going to get if you know, order the hard parts online or wherever you may source your parts from. People may tell you it'll work, use it as an assembly, but you know, to a certain extent, like I said, it'll go together. But when it goes to make that 2-3 shift, it's not going to be a good shift, a crisp shift. It's going to be a you know, a little bit of a hard shift. It may stumble on a shift, but it's not going to be right, and it's not going to set a code, because the ratios are so close. All right, so I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys, because I do get questions on this, and I've been getting some, you know, about the overdrive section, so I just wanted to, thought it was a good idea to just film like a quick tip on this overdrive section. I just thought of it, you know, after, of course, I had this transmission together. I didn't want to really pull it apart, because this thing's going to be going in back in the car, because we're just finishing up the wiring through, you know, with the external harness. Of course, it's much easier with the transmission and the car. So let me just give you a close-up shot of this stuff here real quick with the two different Sun Gears, the two different washers. And just in case there is any question of which one it takes, you know, that would be the easiest way to go, is just to get that washer through Ford. But generally, you know, you have the 0203, which is the 5R55W, which, you know, should take the 24 tooth, but again, you know, hey, maybe it's a late 03, maybe, you know, now they finished up the old stock and they're moving into the new stock. And then at least for sure 04 and up is going to take the later a later Sun Gear with the 38 teeth. All right, so let me just get a little closer. I'll just show you this stuff real quick, and we'll finish up the video. Okay, again, so here is the 38 Sun Gear with the washer. You can see, you know, it's a pretty large hole in there, and that 38 tooth will spline right in. Okay, and then it'll fit right on the drum there. And the 24, that's the 24 along with the gear here. All right, and when you put these two gears up together, that's the 2. All right, so the only real difference on the ratio is really for second gear. You know, and this washer also, the outside diameter is the same, so this washer fits right in there as well. And pretty much in first gear, third gear, fourth and fifth, and reverse, the ratios are basically the same. But it's just second is where the problem is. So when that 2-3 shift, you know, it's not going to be, again, it's not going to be a good shift. That's like a classic sign that you have the wrong overdrive section. And now you could have a bad 2-3 shift because of a band problem or something like that. But generally after overhaul, when you can't get it to shift right, even after resetting the shift adapts, it's a classic sign you got the wrong overdrive section in there. And that's it, you know? So the easy solution is just, if you had to, you know, order the washer. One of the two will come, and that will answer your question. So I just wanted to share this quick tip with you guys on this 5R55S and W overdrive section. All right, I thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and we will see you next one.